A very warm welcome and good morning to Paul Ricard in the south of France, high above the Mediterranean, 21 degrees of pure sunshine, and we are getting ready for race number 2 of the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup. We had one race yesterday, the first of the weekend. It's a 2-race weekend. Round number 1 of this 6-round season. Coming out on top, Kran Reinhold in the Porsche 911 GT3. Won it by just over 3 seconds before Alexis Barthez in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo, and a Porsche in third place, Stefan Perrin in the 992. 1 minute down, but it was the UCS ones that led the way with a Porsche, Lambo, Porsche, Ferrari top 4. Patrick Michelier 107, just marginally behind the Porsche of Perrin in the car number 73. So Kran Reinhold leads the championship through race 1. He's a well-renowned GT team in the Dynamic T. They're also in the GT Open this year and in a brand new Porsche, newest car in the championship this has ever had. So this is the Porsche 991 GT3 Evo. Beautiful vehicle, and Kran Reinhold doing it justice for his Dynamic GT team. 17 laps completed yesterday by the leaders. Elsewhere in the other classes, in the PC, Stefan Perrin won class in his Porsche 992. And we are, car's just coming towards the grid now. Fantastic. And there are some incredible machines. If you're lucky enough to be at Paul Ricard today across the weekend, get as close as you possibly can. Do it safely, but as close as you possibly can. They are unbelievably good looking. And some very lucky drivers in there as well. Further down the grid, it was the Canadian, I should say, Kran Reinhold, the winner. And the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 it was an all-French top 7, apart from the top spot in Reinhold. And we had the Porsches, the Lambos, the Ferraris, and then in the car number 5, the Toyota Supra GT4, the only Toyota on the grid. A couple of Audis in there as well, with speed cars, Francois Dennis and Herrero Racing's Pierre Oro rounded out the top 10 yesterday afternoon. 1 lap down from our leaders. Competing in category UCS 4, just 1 car in the light category by Maxence Roncaglia in the Chazelle Tech course team. And they are racing in the Alpine A110 Cup car. And then 1 other UCS 4 in the Porsche Cayman GT4, Matthias Durand in Racing Tech, 2 laps down at the end of the race. So there are going to be hopefully 14 cars on the grid. In the original entry list a few days ago, we did have 16 cars. We lost a couple. 14 started yesterday. 14 were officially on the grid, but the number 12 car by David Fevre, who was racing the Huracan GT3, didn't start the race yesterday. He is named as on the grid on our starting sheet, so fingers crossed he'll be right up there. But it was domination by the Reinhold, Barthez and Fevre yesterday. In fact, the top 2 really. There is 2 Fevres. Yeah, there is 2 Fevres. David Fevre and Tanguy Fevre, both racing in the Lambos, in the 12 and the 212. And yeah, not much information. I might do a little bit of research on Tanguy Fevre in this race. He's in the CKTC sport car. I'm not sure if they're brothers or father and son, but they're in the Lambo Super Trofeo in the 212 and the Huracan in the GT3 in car 12. And if you've ever considered, if you want to get close to these cars, consider being a marshal. That's a good chance. You can get right up close. There's the 212 of Tanguy Fevre, that Lambo Super Trofeo. lining up in the third row of the grid. And Tangai is also, the only car on the grid in category 3. So as long as he finishes, guaranteed a class win at least. Hey, they all count. And right in front, in fact, yes, they're both going to be on the left-hand side of the grid. So in front of him, in the 12, in the Hurricane, is David. Bit of family rivalry on rows 2 and 3, down towards turn 1, the left and right-hander, Verrier. Now, if you've just joined us from the prototype, we had 35 cars in qualifying, so 14. Hopefully feel a bit more spacious and spread out for these vehicles. Again, 21.6 degrees we saw clocking at the last time of asking. Not a cloud in sight anywhere. That's exactly what we want as well. Beautiful cars, beautiful weather. So official race is gone past my 2 minutes. Here we go, 3-minute board. Leave the grid, please, in 3 minutes. Start your evacuation. We've got racing to do. So some spare tyres, 8 tyres per car available, or 2 sets. I'll leave those doors open as long as possible, get some fresh air in. Only a 35-minute race. 2 across the weekend. And early championship leader, Krijn Reinhold, courtesy of that win, will start on P1, row 1. That's him on the left-hand side in the Porsche 911. To his side, Alexis Barthez in the 27, the red and the yellow liveried car. That is the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Evo 2. 21.7. It's getting hotter, marginally. It was due to be 20 degrees max, though. You've already beaten that. The 555, the red and blue. That is the speed car Audi R8 GT4, driven by Francois Denis. 9th place yesterday. And there is the luminescent yellow and grey. Fantastic colour combo. Family affair of the Tangais. David Fevre and Tanguy Fevre in the 12 and the 212. Yeah, give that door a bit of a wave. Bring it back. Bring the temp down by half a degree in there. It all counts. Marginal gains and all that. We will see a 1-minute board very shortly. And she looks very important. We have, what, 1 minute? Engines on. And our last team members leaving the grid. Stefan Perrin in the 888. Of Sablejeu Racing. They actually weren't on, Sablejeu weren't on the original. Oh, they were, but they were with car number 910. It was going to be Alexander Artemev. He is no longer racing the Kazakh, but we do have in his place the 888 Stefan Perrin. And yeah, it's still a 9. I wonder if it's exactly the same car, because it's still a Porsche 992, which was also going to be the 910 car. Right. Green flag lap. Get those tyres warmed up. Get your sensors adjusted. Race 2 of the weekend. Going for the double. Krijn Reinhold, the Canadian. Only Canadian on the grid. In fact, there's only 4 non-French drivers. Ryan Hakim for Germany. Roger for Netherlands and Maurizio Fondi for Italy. Here is our grid. Kran Reinhold in the 54, racing in the Porsche 911. Next door, Alexis Barthez in the Lambo Super Trofeo for the CMR team. Then you got Stefan Perrin for Sablejot Racing in the 992 Porsche. Next door in the 73, Patrick Michelier in the CMR team. Ferrari 296 Challenge. Row 3, Tanguy Fevre and Rehem Hakim in the Super Trofeo and the 488 Challenge. On row 4, Roger in the Mirage Racing Toyota Supra GT4, Maurizio Fondi in the 488 Challenge. Then the pair of Audis, R8 LMS, Francois Denis and Pierre Oru. Before Maxime Roncaglia, Gregoire Benedet, Matthias Durand and David Fevre. They go along the Mistral Straight on the back half of the track. Turns 8 to 9, the chicane that breaks up that 2 kilometre straight. The right-hander at 10 at Scenes before 11, Bousseau. A lovely section of track between turns 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 before the pit straight again. And up in the mountains above the Med, it is an up and down track, especially that back straight rises 45 to 50 metres in elevation. What absolutely glorious machinery. Front row of the grid. In the white, Kran Reinhold, the Canadian, the 54. Next door, Alexis Barthez. In the Super Trofeo, Lay will lead the way. Behind them, David Fevre. In the Lambo Huracan. And Stefan Perrin in the Porsche 992. And we are racing. It is race number 2 of round 1 at Paul Ricard in the GT Sprint Cup. Here we go towards turn 1. Great start for yesterday's race winner. The Canadian Reinhold will hold his line on the outside towards turn 1. Behind him in 2, Alexis Barthez in the 27. And then Stefan Perrin and David Fevre. No big early changes. And the front 5 cars already start to break away. The early chicane of 4, 5, 6 and 7 St. Bernard-le-Col before they join. Look at that, the Mistral Straight. And the front 5 cars have gone. No change at the top, Reinhold and Barthez. Those top 2 were dominant yesterday. They were over a minute ahead, Reinhold and Barthez. David Fevre holds on to 3rd. No change in 4th to Stefan Perrin. And then Tanguy, no change. Top 5 hold their positions. Already towards the end of lap number 1. I'll come round Bousseau. Turn 11. Through Bendoren Village and Tor. A quick left, right, left. Through 12, 13 and 14. Sharp right-hander to get back onto the pit straight. And there they'll turn right at Dupont. Reinhold, Barthez, Fevre, Perrin, Fevre. So it's a much better start for David Febvre, who never actually got away yesterday, but holds his position on the grid from qualifying earlier on in the weekend. Febvre moves into second position through lap 1. Lyle Schofield and Patrick Michelier also gain positions. Tanguy Febvre drops down to 7th position from 5th on the grid. Now these GT sprint cars, they'll also do 6 races across the calendar. And it is considered the ultimate benchmark for amateur GT championships. We've already seen the iconic cars we've got lined up this weekend. 2 35-minute races to complete. 1 is done. Lapping in 2:12s, 2:13s for the leaders. And as we anticipated, big gaps already starting to form. Purple sectors for David Febvre running in second. There was only between these two, in fact it was Alexis Beret that was second yesterday, 3 seconds down overall after 35 minutes. Well renowned in GT circle racing. And the Canadian looking on form again. Two laps completed. Reinhold, Febvre, Bardet. Then come across the line, Stefan Perrin, Lars Schofield, Patrick Michelier. And look at wonderful racing. '73, you're watching Patrick Michelier and his battle with Tanguy Febvre. Or in fact, Lars Schofield battling for 5th, 6th and 7th, those three. Pierre Arnoux in the 64, being chased by Francois Denis in the 555. The 2 Audis, both in the R8s. Yeah, GT4s. Now, what we will try and determine for you as we go through this, because there's several classes. You've got the category 1, 2, 3 and 4, and the light. But there's only one light. It's the Alpine A110 Cup of Max Roncaglia. Currently running in 13th place. Part 2 of the Mistral Straight. And that gives you some sort of indication of the climb from the start of that right to the very end. So just over 1 second between Reinhold and Febvre. Alexis Bardet down to 3 seconds, then 8 seconds to Stefan Perrin, 12 to Lars Schofield. Purple sector lap for David Febvre, who's moved into P1, 2:06.401. A wonderful lap by David. Racing in the Huracan GT3. The distinctive Red and blue stripes, there's your leader, David Febvre. After a disastrous day yesterday, didn't get to the start grid despite qualifying well. Will be chased hard for the next 27.5 minutes by Kran Reinhold. Just see in the background, that's Alexis Barthé. So these three really pull away now from fourth place, but in their own category, different power of cars. So it's no surprise at all. Just see going through 8 to 9, Stéphane Perrin in the 888. He's chased by Patrick Michelier. So here's our leading pair. David Febvre in the yellow livery, Kran Reinhold, the Canadian, in the whites and black. And Febvre's rear view mirror absolutely full of the Canadian. Goes wide on the left-hander. Of course, all this fighting allows Alexis Barthé to just lap on his own routine. And Kran Reinhold will go absolutely nowhere. This is the race we should have had yesterday. Both in Category 1, Kran Reinhold and David Febvre. They are on the grid, the only two Class 1 cars. In the Category 2, Alexis Barthé. You've also got Patrick Michelier running 5th right now. Oh, a bit of a gap forming. Febvre's just pulled out 1/10 of a second or so. And at the business end, another lovely close battle. Further down the grid, 64. So almost an entire length of the course, 5.8 kilometres here at Paul Ricard. And it won't be long, it might be one more lap before we start seeing some lapped cars. Seems remarkable. And this is a wonderful, oh, great move on the inside. And this is the race for 9th and 10th place. Pierre Aru in the Audi, car number 64. And in the same class, the man that's behind him is back up to the front now. Febvre continues to lead. Kran Reinhold looking for any opportunity whatsoever. With 5 laps completed for our leaders. We missed this yesterday. It was a real shame the Huracan couldn't get to the grid. So the real races are at the front. And then a bit further back, Francois Denis, Pierre Aru, Lawrence Hume racing for 8th, 9th and 10th. All of those guys in the same class. In the UCS 3s and 4s, Francois Denis in the speed car. Yeah, the Audi R8. And yeah, it's Pierre Aru also racing the Audi. And just about holding off the Alpine of Maxence Roncaglia. Is that a gap forming? I'm being optimistic here for David Febvre. It's the smallest of gaps. It's 0.3 of a second at the moment. But I can almost guarantee you, despite something untoward happening, it will look like this for the next 22 minutes. Unlikely. Can Alexis Bardet make any gain on that gap at all? He's 3.5 seconds down. Then we go 16 seconds to Stéphane Perrin. Also leading in class, Perrin in the 888. The Sublojo Racing Porsche 992 Cup car. Once again, over the start finish, 6 laps completed. There'll be another dozen. And they're getting quicker as well in the 205s. In fact, Krijn Reinhold has got the fastest lap of the race at 205.9. Oh, who's that? Gone in the 212. That is Tanguy Fevre. Oh dear. In the Lambo, that's a spin from 6th position. Will it cost him much? Let's see. Here's a lap down on the leaders. Oh no, 40 seconds, sorry, yeah, coming up to 1 lap. Almost at that stage. Because running at the back is the, the 44. And they are just up the road from our leading trio. So Tanguy Fevre doesn't lose out too much, in fact, after that spin. Such are the gaps between the cars. This is the race between Pierre Aru in the Audi and Max Roncaglia in the Alpine. They are racing for 10th and 11th. But not racing for category. The Alpine is its own light category. They are simply racing for track position. Ahead of Pierre Aru is Lawrence Hume, the Brit, in 9th, and Francois Denis. Those three, 8 and 10, are racing for category. Back to the top, Fevre over Reinhold, no change. And there's the back marker. That will be Matthias Direct. Ah, now Lyle Schofield is pitted. From 4th place, Lyle Schofield has pitted in the car number 3. That is, well, maybe find out why a little bit later. Does share that car with Rahan Hakim, but it's Lyle Schofield in it, unless... wait and see, they wouldn't be changing driver. It's the SR&R car. Lyle Schofield, for some reason, racing under a French flag, but I can assure you he's a Brit. Although born in Monaco, raced in Ireland, lives in France, all over the place. .3 of a second between our top two. 4 seconds back to Alexis Bardet, and then 19 to Stéphane Perrin. Now, is Krijn Reinhold, does he have a plan up his sleeve? Getting ever so close. But so finely matched, these two cars. Looks for a sniff on the outside, cuts back in. But this is rinse and repeat now for 6 laps. David Fevre's held the lead. So Krijn Reinhold would have to just look, watch every lap. Where can I make a gain? Where can I find a 10th? Of the Huracan GT3. So Lambo, Porsche, 1-2. Lamborghini again of Alexi Barthe. 5 seconds down now. Can't see that being bridged at all, but it's the cleanest third position he'll ever have in a race, because he's another 20 seconds back to fourth. And again, the race for 10th and 11th between Pierre Roux, the Audi, and Max Roncaglia and the Alpine is wonderful. They are just coming onto the Mistral straight. We'll get back to them shortly. Here we are, in fact, making their way. Here we are. So this is the race for 9th and 10th. No, 10th and 11th. Pierre Roux in the Audi, ahead of Max Lawrence in the Alpine. Then comes Gregoire Benedet in the Ferrari and Matthias Durand on the Porsche. So despite there being just 14 cars, there are 3 races going on right now, and they're all very tight. You've also got, that's an overtake happening, isn't it, for Stéphane Perrin on the oh, it's a spin for the Alpine. So Max Roncaglia takes a spin, and that car, is it in trouble? Was just getting back on the power again. Well, that is right towards the end of the lap as well in Sector 3. Oh, we had a lovely battle. I was just waxing lyrical about the lovely racing we had. And Roncaglia sends it off. Oh, it's a big sideways, isn't it? He was chasing Pierre so hard. They were 3 laps deep into that little 2-man battle. And just a few too many horses round the right-hander. And that is a fantastic double pirouette. 10 points. No change in 1 and 2. 15 minutes remaining for this 35-minute race. Oh, slightly wide there. That's a 22. That is... let's go back. Oh, lovely move on the... Oh, overtaking the back marker. Okay, through. Looks like Reinhold lost a little bit more time there than David. Another back marker in their sights. And they're coming up on the tail of car number 5, Lawrence Hume, who pitted, but has come back out. No, it was Lyle Schofield. Sorry. So, yeah, so Lyle Schofield, who pitted, sorry, getting the Brits mixed up, has not come back out. So we will not see again Lyle Schofield, who it was his teammate Rehan Hakim, who raced in the first race yesterday, finished 6th in that 488 Challenge Ferrari. So they're sharing the car, 1 race each. So technical issues. So what will this back marker bring for Fevre and Reinhold? Shouldn't be too tricky, as they're just making their way onto the straights now. Straight. Will they get past it before turn 1? This might cause a little issue. David Fevre does. Krijn Reinhold doesn't yet. He'll have to wait until turn 3. Back to the Alpine. Max Roncaglia, who had the spin, only dropped 1 position. Again, big gaps between the cars, well over halfway through this race now. So you can have a spin, and to be honest, not really, might lose 1 position, probably not 2. But he's now racing Gregoire Benedet in the Ferrari, where he was formerly racing Pierre Roux. So still chasing, just the badge on the car in front has changed. Finished in 11th position yesterday. Max Roncaglia in that Alpine. Having a sniff around the outside. Four cars lapping, five in fact, lapping in under 2:10s. And they are naturally the front five. Yeah, look at the size of the gap now between Febvre and Reinhold. That back marker's done a really good favour, actually, because that is the biggest it's been in the last 20 minutes. And going by those first 8, 9 laps, 10 laps down now, can he bridge it? And even he can, he was struggling to get past, wasn't he? They're so finely matched, these two cars. The Lambo leading the Porsche. And it will be a reprieve for David if he gets this one done, because he lost a lot of points in the championship yesterday. Non-starter to winner potentially. Over 10 minutes to go still. Oh, there's a lovely undertake on the right-hander. That's a 72. That is a wonderful little move. Was that Patrick Michelier in the... I think it was a move on Stefan Perrin. I just caught a glimpse there as well of the Alpine flashing his lights to get out the way of Gregoire Benedet, and that move did happen. He has got through. So Max Roncaglia in the Alpine 95, a frustrating couple of laps, but satisfaction in getting past Gregoire Benedet in the Ferrari. Over half a second between our top two. The biggest gap we've seen. And the Alpine will now aim its sights on the Audis in front. And the Toyota of Lawrence Hume. 10 minutes to play with. Might be a slightly bigger ask. But that racing class between Aru, Hume and Dennis. Big gaps between them, but they are 1, 2, 3 in class, running 8, 9 and 10 on track. The gap has closed again. Reinhold has pulled all the time lost from the back marker. Didn't matter one jot. We are nose to tail again at the front. Race 2 of the weekend in the GT Sprint Cup. This will go all the way to the wire. They will get maybe 5 more laps in, possibly 4. Oh, and he's flashing his lights. How dare you? How dare you, Kron Reinhold? Get out the way. I don't think that's going to work. Goes for the outside, all over his tail. David Febvre holding on through the chicane. Oh, this is wonderful. There is no way on God's earth David Febvre is going to make way for a flashing Porsche Kron Reinhold, but it was worth a go. And all this is letting Alexis Bardet in the Lambo is now gaining time on the top two. He was over 5 seconds back. It's down to 4.8 now. So maybe got a bit more luck on the back marker in the red and yellow with the yellow bonnet and red behind. So that's your top three. And that is not Patrick Michelier in 4th place back. He's 33 seconds down the track. So there is an outside chance for Alexis Bardet, if this battle continues in the way it has, could gain a few more tenths and make it interesting. It's not already. 0.39 seconds between David Febvre and Kran Reinhold. Oh, all over the strip. Looks at the inside. Has he got it? Kran Reinhold. No, he doesn't. Held off by David Febvre. Into the right-hander. That's the closest he's been in 25 minutes to regaining his lead at the start of the race. Started in pole after 2 laps. David Febvre took him on and won. And he's been holding him off ever since. Alexis Barthé continues to make ground. 4 points back. It's not quick enough to bring it down to 0. But if he can get in the rear view mirror of Kran Reinhold, it might just do something to this front 2. There is a back marker coming up. And the back marker is the number 33 of Maurizio Fondi, who himself is running in 7th position in his Ferrari. They both get past. Oh, it was a perfect time, wasn't it? The Mistral straights. That has worked out very well for them both. That could have been very inconvenient for David Febvre. In the end, it was absolute perfection. And let's hope for the racing that Alexis Barthé can get past as well. He won't do it on the second part of the Mistral. You might have to wait to the start-finish line. Oh, Reinhold just goes ever so slightly wide. Can't afford to lose thousandths of a second anywhere. Car number 5 is going to get a 5-second penalty. That is Lawrence Hume. He's currently 16 seconds ahead of 10th place Pierre Auroux, so that won't matter too much right now. That was a track limits infringement. Kran Reinhold is loving those little late lunges, isn't he? They are just too finely tuned. These two cars almost identical in performance. The lap times, the fastest lap time between these two is only a 1/10 of a second difference. And they're lapping barely a 1/10 of a second apart as well. Their split times are almost identical. And you just wonder if Kran Reinhold was in front here, would David Febvre be able to hold on in the same way? You'd likely think so. Quick look at Pierre Auroux in the Audi and the Alpine of Max Roncaglia chasing, but it's all about the front 2. Regardless, it's going to lead the championship if it finishes like this with a win yesterday and Febvre not finishing. It does make it very interesting for the rest of the championship in round 2, which will be at Magny-Cours at the end of May. But David doing everything right, all he can do in race 2. .6 now for Alexis Barthé. It's not coming down quick enough, but it's a valiant effort to keep in touch, at least keep them in his sights. Is Kran Reinhold, does he know where he's going to go for it? And he's just waiting until the very final lap to give it a go. That is one possibility. He's been so close, studying the rear of David Febvre, almost 30 minutes. He'll know every move. Goes for again 2 laps ago. Is that his only opportunity? Is that the only place on the entire circuit that he thinks he can get past David Febvre? He won't get many more chances. 2. He'll get 2 more chances, 2 laps for Kran Reinhold to make it a double weekend. And Alexis Barthé has brought the gap down to 3.2. He's picked up a second on lap number 15. He'll be getting bigger and bigger in the rearview mirror of Kran Reinhold, and I imagine David Febvre can see him as well. More back markers coming up. Looks like Matthias Durand is going to have to make some space for the leaders. And again, they've timed it perfectly on the Mistral straight at the back. But once again, it's going to be Barthé that loses out. He'll have to do it through the chicane or on the second piece of the straight. Into turns 8 to 9 and the left and the right hander. Then back up to the very top of the straight, up towards Scene. Now, on the straight line, the Porsche is having the advantage. But when they get into the two twisty bits of this track, that is where Kran Reinhold brings it. So expect to see now turns 11 say and Bender at 12, Village at 13. That gap will be closed up again, but pit straight, David Febvre pulls out another tenth or so. That is why we're seeing the attempts at taking back this lead from Kran Reinhold in those tight turns. That is where he has the advantage. They will get one more lap in after this. Temperature up to 21.2 degrees. What's the gap now back to Barthé? 3.6. It's going to be too little too late. Not enough time to squeeze that gap. But he has been an entertaining cameo in this race in third place for the entirety. Never been challenged in front or behind. He's been able to enjoy watching this one as we have. Through the chicane at 3, 4 and 5. And then Leclerc brings them out onto the long straight again. And this is where the Lambo of David Febvre has that advantage in straight line speed. The Porsche better on the tight turns. Although he's held on very nice at the straight. Final lap. It's all here. There are 6 more turns for David Febvre to hold on and turn what started as an awful weekend, not getting to the start line in race 1 yesterday, to winning race number 2 for the CKCT Sport team in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3. 4 more corners. Last chance saloon for Kran Reinhold in the 54. In the Porsche 911 GT3 for the Dynamic GT team. It'll be a win and a second for Reinhold, the Canadian. If Febvre can just hold on. Last 2 corners. Left-hander and then the sharp right will take them on to the start-finish straight for the last time. Reinhold will push all the way, but David Febvre turns his weekend from misery to glory with a win in race 2 of the GT Sprint Cup. Alexis Barthé will pick up 3rd position. What a fantastic race number 2 in the GT Sprint Cup. And as it should be, our 2 Category 1 cars, providing all the entertainment at the front. Not that there wasn't races behind them. Crossing the line in 4th position in the Ferrari will be Patrick Michelier. Maurizio Fondi. Fastest lap of the race came from Reinhold, 2:05.917. What fantastic racing. 35 minutes of adrenaline for the top 2 spots. Never more than half a second between them for 17 laps. And Alexis Barthé, for the first time in the race, just slides between them and joins the front three. Patrick Michelier finishing in 4th position. Their CMR team. 5th will be Stéphane Perrin in the 888. That's the Sablegeau Racing Porsche 992 Cup car. Tanguy Fevre, well, after a spin fairly early, recovered to 6th place. Maurizio Fondi in 7th, Francois Denis in 8th. Top 10 rounded out by Laurence Hume and Pierre Aru. And Alexis Barthé racing towards the pits. Just for half a lap, feeling the glory of leading the top two, Reinhold and Fevre. As the rest of our grid come across the line, 2 laps down from front to back. Unfortunately, a non-finish for Lyle Schofield after his teammate Rehan Hakim got a 6th place finish yesterday in the car number 3. Some issues to be resolved before round 2. Here's your overall classification. David Fevre holds on over Kran Reinhold. A fantastic 17-lap battle between the two. Joining him on the podium, Alexis Barthé in the 27, before Patrick Michelier, Stéphane Perrin, Tanguy Fevre, Maurizio Fonzi and Francois Denis round out your top 8. 1 lap down from your leaders. Alexis Barthé's official finish time, 3.7 seconds behind the top 2. And that was the closest it was after around 3 or 4 laps. But Kran Reinhold will lead the championship. Other finishes from 9th, Laurence Hume in the Toyota. Pierre Aru, Max Roncaglia and Matteo Durand is our final finisher in 13th place. This has been race 2 of the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup. Kran Reinhold will lead the championship into round 2. Here's your highlights. Now, Kran Reinhold started on pole position, did get away the strongest, but it wasn't long until David Fevre fought back, took over the lead of the race and held it onto it for 17 straight laps. Close to begin with. It broke up eventually. 4 or 5 laps in, there were big gaps forming. Alexis Barthé did everything he possibly could to chase the back of the top 2 pair, but 3rd position will be his final spot. And when David Fevre got the front, that is where it stayed. Behind them, great racing between the Alpines, the Audis and the Toyotas. Plenty of fun for all involved. Tanguy Fevre took a spin early on in the race, but hang on to finish in 6th position, 1st in class. And providing a lot of fun, the 95 of Max Roncaglia in the Alpine. Again, it is fun. Spun out early when chasing the Audi. Would eventually finish in 12th position. There was the spin. Just trying a little bit too hard. But it was a lovely double pirouette to get himself back on track. And with the gaps between racing, didn't take too much to get up those positions once again. In the 96 or 95. Again, toe-to-toe racing from front to back. Just 14 cars on the track. But no lack of things for us to watch. Some great slow-mos. Eventually, there were several efforts by Kran Reinhold to get back that position that he led. But it just wasn't enough. Couldn't find the gap to get past David Fevre. Again, didn't start race number 1 yesterday. Technical issues, but right to the very end, held on. Held off the Canadian. Alexis Barthet, the countryman of Febvre, made out of France 1-3. But Febvre held on and finished the weekend strong.